Judgment reversed. In reversal, Judgment still is very often a card about jumping to conclusions, as well as decisions and judgments which are too hastily made. If you are prone to such things, this is a clear signal to slow down and give things more thought, and to give people more chances. This can be a real time of spiritual awakening. This card in any configuration, reversed or upright, does not mean that you need to judge someone or something. Particularly when judgment is reversed, the decision has already been made. In general, judgment reversed tells you to look carefully at how you are making decisions and judgments. If you are the one tending to jump to conclusions, you can, and should, change this. If others are making these kinds of decisions about you or about someone you care for, there is really very little you can do, apart from realizing that it's their problem, not yours. Sometimes even judgments which look at first to be completely unfair, actually work out to be for your highest good. Control what you can and ignore the rest. Work. When you draw reversed judgment, know that things may be changing at work. If you want to keep this job as long as possible, behave as though you know every moment you're there, you are being watched. This is an important time to put in extra effort. The news ultimately is likely to be good. If you've been trying hard and doing your best, your efforts are very likely to pay off. If you've been slacking off, now is the time to get with the program, before any permanent damage is done. On the other hand, if you should lose this job, and the wheels may have been put into motion for that long before you drew the card, know that you are being moved to a situation that is much better for you. Take one step at a time. Love. With reversed judgment, this can still be a make or break period for an existing relationship. You, and the people around you, may be in the process of changing. Don't cling tightly to the status quo. If you are looking for love, or you draw judgment reversed regarding someone you have your eye on, a new relationship may well come about in the near future. Still, you may need to take steps to make sure that you aren't leaping to conclusions, positive or negative, about your new love or vice versa. Slow and steady wins the race. Finances. Don't beat your head against brick walls, as they say. Take one step at a time. If a decision has been made already, and it's not in the direction you would like, find another way. There is always more than one way to accomplish a goal, always more than one person to help you. This is an important time to be flexible, if things aren't working the way you had hoped that they would. Health. When you pull this card in reverse in connection with health issues, it's a signal that accepting that it is okay for you to make mistakes or to even be wrong on occasion will go a long way toward helping you to feel better. Judgment reversed is a reminder not to fight change, and to accept that the past is over, and that letting go of anger over the past will help you to feel better. Think positively. Spirituality. Judgment in reverse again reminds you of the need to be open to new ideas and new experiences. Change is a constant in life. That doesn't mean that you should just change everything willy-nilly, and get rid of spiritual practice that comforts you completely, only that you will benefit from looking at new and different approaches. They can benefit you in ways that you can't imagine at this point. And you'll never gain these benefits unless you are open to a certain amount of change. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and two male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, popess or popess, and pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy, where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.